Hello guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Buzzing Podcastivity. We have another prison leaver today. He made a few wrong choices in his life. He's been released from prison, and since he's been released he's used his lived experience to help other people who have made wrong choices in programs he has designed and set up to help them change their pattern of thinking, their view on money, and general well-being and help for their futures. He has a great philosophy for life, and I found this guest really interesting. I hope you do too. Stay tuned. We're here today with reformed criminal Pratik Doshi. He's got a belting story. He's another chap which helps does fights the good fight for the people, who need rehabilitation. And he really puts it out there, and he really helps people, and I'm really proud to have him today. How you doing, Frank?
Yeah, thank you for having me, bro. It's a pleasure stuff.
Yeah, man. So, please introduce yourself, better than I did, because...
Yeah. So my name's Pratik. Born and raised in London. 10 years ago, was it 10 years ago? No, it was like 7 years ago. Ended up in jail for selling drugs. I've come out, tried to better myself, started businesses. Currently, I work at Breakthrough Social Enterprise, so we help prison leavers, equip them with the skills to get tech jobs, and we'll get into the story, but I won't give up too much straight away.
Thank you, man. So can we just go I want to get to know see when mine's a big storytelling podcast.
Yeah,
I like to go right back to the start. So you've already sort of give that. So your early life, you're from London, yeah.
Yeah.
You're from London. What was your your teenage years like? I don't really need to know about your childhood unless it's relevant,
So I'll start right at the start. I'm Indian, right? So my parents are from India.
Yeah.
But my whole family was born in Yemen, right?
Okay.
So in the 1800s, I'll give you a little history lesson. Yeah. In the 1800s, Yemen was a British colony, and so was India. So then the British people, they promised Indians that if they come to Yemen, because to start businesses, to do work, they'll get a British passport. Okay. All right. So then my whole family, of the generation above me, all of them were born in Yemen, and they were born with British passports. The war kicked off. They were like 2-3 years old, my mum and dad. They went back to India, right? And then when they turned like 26, they had British passports. So they thought, oh, let's just go to the UK for better opportunities. So then they met there, and then that was me essentially. In terms of my childhood, it was good, man. My parents sacrificed literally their whole lives for me. I'll be real. Like my mum, she'll wear the same garms for 20 years. She's the type of woman that will use everything, ride everything until the wheels fall off to save money. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the type of background I was growing up in.
See, my grandmother, we're Irish immigrants, yeah, so I'm from Irish descent. And my grandmother was the same. I think that era of immigrants was like that. They really just rode, like you said, everything to the wheels fell off.
Yeah. No,
so it's good that's really cool, man. What about your teenage years? What about that? What happened there?
In my teenage years, I was a good kid, until I was like 13, 14. I remember I was telling myself when I was in school, or to one of my brethren, I was like, oh, I'm never going to do drugs. I'm never going to do anything bad. I'm a religious Hindu. I grew up in a very conservative background. And then when I was 14, I just went left. I don't know what it was. It was like little petty crime, little things like that. Nothing too serious. I was more of a mischievous kid than a bad kid. But then I was very business minded, if that makes sense. So I always thought of different ways to make money. Even my family, I've seen my family go from living one category above a slum to now I've just come back from India. They all live in swanky apartments, have new cars. And I talk to them like, how did you do this? But it's all through business. So I feel like slyly it's in my blood. So I've always been business minded. Like when I was 16, I tried to do my first crop. It died. So little things like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I was always thinking, I was like, oh, drugs, that's a good way to make money. I don't know why. I feel like it's an environment that my dad grew up in India as well. I was always intrigued by crime, and I was always intrigued by groups of people that can take down authority. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I was always naturally gravitated towards that, more so than all my other friends. It was weird. So my teenage years, I started off as a good kid, was really mischievous, and then when I was 16, 17, that's when I started kind of dipping my toes into crime. But again, it was petty. It wasn't no mad crime or anything.
No, so how did you do in school? Was you quite educated? Did you do well in school?
Yeah. I did well up until I was 16.
Mm.
I did great in school until I was 16. 16, I started smoking a lot of weed, and then I just started like lots of issues were happening in school with people, like beef with certain people and things like that. And then I fell off my education 16, 17, 18. I was actually lucky to even get into uni. I've always been a good talker. I've always been able to sell myself. So even though like I failed my A levels basically, I just left with GCSEs. I still managed to get myself into uni. So I was quite lucky, to be honest.
That is lucky, man. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah. Well,
You must have the gift of the gab then.
Yeah.
No, fair play. So you went to uni, yeah? Because I know a little bit about your background. Obviously, I researched you. We chat on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So what did you go study at university?
Accounting and finance. So my mum, when she came here, she was working, she was studying at uni, and she was raising me and doing everything. Yeah. So she was an accountant. I genuinely feel like at a young age already, I had failed my family. Like from an Indian background, when you come from, it's very like keeping up with the Joneses. Like, oh, our cousin is doing so good, and then I'm just like I was a bad kid. Do you get what I mean? So I was like, and then there was so much grief between me and my mum because of that, because she wanted a specific life for me, but I just wouldn't listen, and I was like really rebellious. So I thought, what's a good way to, one, prove to these lot that I'm not an idiot, and two, I don't know where I want to take my life, so I might as well follow their footsteps. So I studied accounting and finance.
So that was the decision, yeah.
Yeah.
So you just did it not for you did it for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Even when I came out of jail, I wanted to be a plumber, and my mum was like, "I didn't come to this country for you to be a plumber." I was like, "Plumbers earn more than you, mum." And she's like, "Go to uni or you're not living here." And I was like, "Alright, cool." So I definitely did it for them.
Yeah, that's class, man. So growing up in London, was you ever involved in like gangs, gang beef, or anything like that? Like at
Not
any level, or
like beef with other groups of people. It wasn't really gangs. If I'm being real, there was obviously gangs and stuff around me, but I was very sheltered as a young kid. So like little things like I had a curfew to come in and things like that. So my parents did a good job to keep me out of it. But I would still get into loads of, because when you're growing up in London, even if you're not involved, you'll still have trouble.
yeah,
If it's mistaken identity, I'll be real. I'm not gonna try to act bad. Yeah, I've been run down as a 14-year-old kid, like smashed in the back of my head, kicked up and stuff, and then my dad would go do the mad thing afterwards. Yeah, like he'll back it, but.
yeah.
But even though I wasn't involved in that gang sort of stuff, it was definitely all around me, and I would still get dragged into it. Not as a gang member, but I'd still get dragged into trouble. So it's definitely prevalent.
Because I'm obviously not from London, but you always hear about postcodes and stuff like that. So you're on the fringes, yeah, and you just get cross identity, other people attacking you, thinking you're part of something, that sort of thing. Yeah, no, I get that. So the elephant in the room is obviously you've been to prison, yeah. This is why we're linked up, because I want to start bringing out, the positive things people are doing for people who've been to prison and turn their lives around, because like you say, it's lived experience, isn't it? So you went to uni in Plymouth, yeah. And this is where it went wrong for you, isn't it?
So essentially, this is how I describe it: that my entrepreneurial spirit, was in the wrong place. I'll be real, I saw a market gap.
Yeah.
All the other shutters, the food was dead, right? Party drugs, you couldn't trust it. Someone will get something and they'll end up dying or something, right? Yeah. I was very, what's the word, approachable. So I saw a market gap. I saw an opportunity. Like even I had like a business mentor, and he was saying, "You guys just sold the wrong product at university," right? So then, just got into selling drugs. At one point in that time, I thought, I'm going to be an accountant. This is going to be a cover up. I'm going to be a drug dealer for good, and no one will ever know. That I had a plan in my head. I was a. Do you know when you're at that age, no one can tell you anything? So even when people are like, I was the bad one out of my friends in that sense. Everyone's like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?" And then I was like, "Nah, this is my plan. I'm gonna do this." Like I've seen my parents work hard for 20 years, and my mom still hobbles to the bus stop in the morning. Like I'm not trying to work a 9 to 5. I saw a 9 to 5 as slavery, to be honest. Genuinely, I saw it as slavery. I was like, so you're telling me that you're gonna work 40 hours a week for 30, 40 years, and then retire, and I'm the crazy one for selling drugs? that was my mindset at that time, right? I was like, how am I the dumb one? You lot are nuts for being slaves, essentially, right? I was very arrogant at that time. But also, I saw myself, and I said this in court, it didn't really land well, that I saw myself as an ethical drug dealer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, the kids, they weren't scared to come to me. Like, I would give them a good service, good stuff. I'm not trying to bump anyone, all of that. So it didn't land well in court at all.
What did the judge say to that, then?
He was not happy. He thought it was a joke. Like, it was a very techie trial. Like, one of my alleged runner snitched on me, right? My co-defendant was essentially innocent, right? And then he 3 trials we went through. Like, they only do 3 trials for murderers and terrorists. They were really trying to get us.
3 trials.
And I beat a lot of charges. So, like, at first it was like 7 charges. I got it down to 2, right?
Was it drug conspiracy?
Yeah. It was conspiracy of, like, from A to C.
Yeah.
They tried to say that I was money laundering. I proved them wrong. And then, you know what the police do? It's called laddering, right?
Laddering, yeah.
They'll throw in next stuff like, oh, you robbed the pharmacy. I'm like, no, I did. Like, I was literally in the holding cell at 3 a.m. sleeping. Yeah, the police just come in and then it's like, oh, we're rearresting you. And I was like, what? I'm already in your cell. I was like, for what? And they're like, for robbery. And then I laughed. I literally laughed because I was like, I know that's not true. So it was a very techie trial. But to cut a long story short, when I was at university, it went left. I was selling drugs. It got very big. It blew up in my face. My alleged runner snitched on me, and then the whole case was for 2 years. I got kicked out of university, and I saw how society treats you differently. Before, when I'm talking to people, I'm like, oh, I'm a finance student. They're like, oh my god, the world is your oyster. Now I've been kicked out of university and I'm a criminal. No one looks at you. No one bats an eyelid at you at all. So I saw that change, and I felt like I was living 2 lives. Like 3 lives even.
Is this whilst you're in uni still?
Yeah.
So you got kicked out of uni, but you're not in prison yet. You're on bail, yeah?
So like 2016, got arrested. 2 months later, 18 police officers came, licked off my door. Like, one of my friends, he had a cut on his arm. Yeah, and he wears glasses, and they just kind of like put him on the ground, and it was very like, they tried to put me on the ground as well, and they spun the house. And then I got kicked out of university, but then I actually got convicted and sent to prison at the end of 2017. So it was loads of retrials. It was a long ass process.
Yeah, sounds it, man. That's like 3 trials.
Yeah.
Why was the 3 trials? Was it not hung jury? Was it as they say?
Hung juries and things like that. And
so usually they just dismiss the case.
Yeah. But they really want like that. I don't know, innit? I don't know what.
Obviously, you don't know. Yeah, fair enough. Thanks for your honesty with that. So yeah, in the end, you was convicted. You was found guilty. You didn't impress the judge with your ethical drug dealing.
Yeah. I even wrote a book, bro. I wrote a book on how to end the war on drugs. To try justify that cannabis should be legal. Like, you get the UK are the biggest exporter of cannabis.
Of medical cannabis, we are. Yeah.
And I was like, what are you lot doing me for? Like, I've had injuries all my life. I would self-medicate as well, right? Like, recently, I've just been diagnosed with arthritis. I'm 27. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
And I knew that
I'm sorry that's happened to you, man.
Yeah, no, but you just got to roll with the punches, innit? Like, I used to do a lot of. You're a boxer yourself.
Well, I like to dabble. Yeah, I'm a boxer.
But I used to dabble in a lot of Muay Thai.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I've ever done. That's out the window for me now. But the point I'm making is that I was trying to show the non-malicious nature
of your crime,
yeah.
Because they try and dress up dangerous drug dealer, money, the Ripple crime. This is used for terrorism. They come out of all sorts of madness sometimes, don't they? Yeah. And I know I've seen the articles, and I know how the police try and dress things up to make it. They're trying to sell a narrative, aren't they, to a jury? It's not always just about the evidence or the facts, is it? It's sometimes they try and dress up a narrative. So yeah, you went to prison. Yeah, did the judge sort of add a little bit of time for your viewing it? Because the judge would have said, wouldn't they, that you minimised it, wouldn't they? He said you would have minimised it. You would have what's the other word? No remorse. Was there used against you?
Nah, because I was very what's the word? I was remorseful. So my thing was that I am guilty, but like, and I shouldn't have done it. But like, don't send me to prison for it.
Yeah,
that was my whole thing. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had lots of mitigating circumstances, from like mental health, being a person of good character, physical health. So I actually got a touch. I got 2-1. Like from the charges that I was looking at in the beginning, it went down. Obviously, removing all the charges that I wasn't guilty of.
Yeah.
I didn't get a touch. I shouldn't have gone to prison, right?
Okay,
I was a
yeah.
university student. What they got me for was selling weed. Why are you sending me to jail? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
didn't have my family and my friends, I would have come out and I would have been off the rails.
Of course,
Do you
yeah.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
You go in there and you learn so much. There's so many big drug dealers that can give you cheap deals. It's the university of crime.
Of course it is, yeah.
I would have gone up, and I'm so blessed that I'm privileged enough to come out of prison, that I can live with my mother. I have food on the table. I don't need to pay rent, right? If I didn't have those things, 100%, I would have gone back to jail. So my whole argument was that you are. Can I swear on the podcast?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are fucking my shit up by sending me to jail, because like, I'm not born out of a circumstance where I should be committing crime. I'm just a bit. I just went left. Do you get me?
There's a chance of basically, yeah, because you seen the opportunity, you're opportunist, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think maybe if you was in a city like London, you got done for that, you would have gone to prison. But
100%.
I think a big thing in this country is where you go to court.
Yeah.
Ethnicity could be. I'm not saying that.
100% it was.
I'm not saying that, because I don't know, but I believe that. Yeah, I believe ethnicity, locations. A Mancunian in Cornwall would get a bad touch. Scouser in Cornwall, bad touch. Stereotypes. It happens. You know what I mean?
They think we're doing county lines.
Yeah.
They want to make an example out of you. Don't come to our city and peddle drugs. But like 25% of the population are on drugs anyway. My argument was, obviously
most of the police are probably on it.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously I'm remorseful, but
yeah.
my argument was to my parents when they're like, "Why did you sell drugs?" I'm like, "If I'm not going to do it, someone else will."
Yeah, you try and justify that, isn't it? But listen, look at it this way. I'm not trying to justify drugs yet. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously
no one should commit crime.
No one should commit crime, and no one should sell drugs. Alcohol was outlawed once in America, prohibition. Yeah, all over the world, cannabis is getting made legal. Every Thailand is the last one to do it, isn't it? They used to jail people for 20 years for weed, and now that they've legalized it, it's going to eventually happen here. I think there'll be an angle by the powers that be with that, and then make sure they've got the market squared off.
Yes.
But eventually that is going to be a legal substance, yeah. 100%. And the sentences are still handing out for it. I don't think it's justified, but that's my opinion, and everyone's entitled to it. So in a free country, I think Class A drugs, maybe it's a bit more harm caused from that.
100%.
So I understand why they throw the book at people with Class A drugs, but I think weed's a little bit.
But even with Class A drugs,
I think first offence that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a bit harsh.
Even with Class A drugs, like, yes, it definitely causes harm, but like, someone taught me this whenever I would have a judgmental view on like people that do shootings and stuff. He's like, what you have to see is you have to look at the person and you have to see their lifestyle at the time, their socialization, so what they think is right.
The mental conditioning, isn't it?
Yeah. And like in that particular moment, they thought they were making the right decision.
Of course, yeah.
If that makes sense. Obviously, harm to the public is not good. No, but no one should cause harm to people, the public. But there needs to be a little bit more empathy to people that commit those crimes, because it's like that thing. Sobernan wrote a perfect article. It's like, is it a crime to be poor? If that makes sense. Yeah. And there's other research that I've read that says that if you take a group of prisoners and a group of high executive business people, they have the same characteristics that are usually celebrated in the business world and in the criminal world. The ability to thrive under pressure, the ability to handle uncertainty, the ability to take risk, leadership skills. Top criminals have this, top businessmen have this. The conclusion of the article was that if these criminals were born in Hampstead Heath instead of Harlesden, yeah, they would grow up to be business executives, lawyers. But if they grow up in a low socioeconomic background, they're just going to go into crime.
Yeah.
So like the main point I'm making is, although public harm needs to be addressed and people should obviously not be given punishments, but they should learn the error of their ways if their crime has public harm in it. More empathy needs to be put on the sentencing, so we don't continue to break lives by just sending people to prison for so many years.
Yeah, the revolving door, man.
Yeah.
And like you says, the university of crime causes trauma, and the prisons aren't nice places. Let's face it, yeah. And the thing is, once people are in there, they have that experience of rejection from society, they're condemned, they come out, like it's like you said, you're lucky, yeah, that you had that stability to come out to.
100%.
If no one's got that, and they've got the £350 job seekers, no, was it universal credit now? They're waiting for a place. There's no places. They're waiting for this. They're waiting for that. Someone offers them opportunity, crime, instant gratification, instant financial gain. They're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And this is where things need to be broken down at the end. And you know, a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, but crime and but it's deeper than that. You know,
100%.
criminals sent them to jail. Oh, but you cannot unless you want to start executing every criminal. They're going to be freed.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you have to get to the root causes
Exactly.
of this problem. You know.
Exactly.
And this is what I want to move on to. You're a big part of that, aren't you?
Yeah, currently.
So so let's go into that. I mean, you work for a company called, is it Breakthrough?
Yeah, Breakthrough Social Enterprise.
Breakthrough Social Enterprise in
Yeah.
Prison to Purpose.
Yeah. Prison to Purpose is something that a friend of mine that I met in prison, Caden Adams, he's coined the term. He's someone who's really gone through it, 10 years committing crime, multiple birds, multiple times in prison.
And bird, so you can, I like to break down the thing. What does bird mean?
Prison sentence.
Prison sentence,
yeah. And he coined the term prison to purpose because he's someone who really does embody that, and he's gone from prison to purpose. So it's just a term that we want, essentially, people that are going from prison to purpose to put on their LinkedIn to change the public perception of people that have gone to prison.
Yeah.
But just to break down, because Breakthrough Social Enterprise, me working there, will make sense if I break down my, journey from prison to here. So in jail, I worked in the library, right? I had various jobs. It was easy for me to work in the library because I hate to say this, but I was more educated than most of the population. I was like in the top 10%.
Yeah, and that's nothing to be ashamed of, is it?
Yeah. But so I worked in the library, was talking to a lot of people. People would come up to me and they'll be like, "But your career's done. What are you doing after prison? That I can throw you a kilo for this, that, and the other." And I was like, "Yeah, nah, fuck that." I was like, "I don't want to do that." I was like, "Do you want me to come back here, chill with you? Like, you'll still be here. I'll come out, sell your kilo, and then I'll be back in with you. You'll still be riding your sentence. Let's not do that." And then we would imagine me, little old me, debating with these big guys that are in for 15 years, trying to get them to stop committing crime, right? They'll be telling me stuff like, "Bro, as soon as I get out, all I'm gonna do is buy drugs and sell it because that's all I know." So I was trying to get into the root cause of why people feel like they can commit crime. It's way more complex than the answer I'm about to give. But at that time, one of the things I discovered was a lack of financial literacy, right? And people's perception towards money. One thing straight away, people think to make money, you have to take money. No, it's an exchange of value, if that makes sense. So people need to change, like, what value am I bringing? And then how, because all money is an exchange of value, if that makes sense, right? Like, I've got value as a project manager, a company needs a project manager, I give them 40 hours of my time, they pay me, right? So then me and Sobernan, who's my co-defendant, childhood friend, we made a course on a financial literacy program, right? And then we delivered it in the jail to different cohorts of people. That gave an idea to say that, for me anyway, that I'm a perfect bridge between the people in jail and the staff and the system. Because of my educational background, I'm palatable to the criminal justice sector. I can code switch, if that makes sense, right?
I get that.
But then the man will also listen to me because they can relate to me, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, great. I'm actually a really good bridge between the two. I'm privileged enough that I can go out and I don't have to worry about the basics because they're sorted because I can live with my family, right? So then that made me think, this is the career path I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down the path of empowering prisoners and improving the system. And one woman that actually inspired that was Dr. Sarah Lewis. She was doing a growth project. She's a PhD doctor who goes into prisons and does this thing called growth projects. So she'll do like a needs analysis of the jail. She reduced the spice use of our prison by 50%. She did like fairs in the prison. Yeah, she got all the rappers that were in jail at that time to do performances. She got all of us hobs. We were cooking. We were eating better than people on road in jail, right? Yeah. So that really inspired me to go down this path. Come out of prison, go to university, started a marketing agency, started a CIC where we do these sorts of programs. So
what does CIC stand for, please?
Community interest company.
Yeah,
So it's a business model that's similar to a charity, but you don't have that many restrictions as a charity does, but you're still eligible for different types of funding, because all the assets of the company belong to the community.
Yeah,
right?
it's not for profit, isn't it?
Exactly. So then so the whole philosophy was, we called it 3T. Because I discovered, now other founders of this probably have a different spin or perception of why it started, but we found that there's 3 things that an individual needs to sort out in their lives to live a meaningful life. So we call it the 3 truths, right? So it's your health, which splits down to your mental health, your physical health. Goes without saying, both of those need to be sorted out for you to live a meaningful life. Then your wealth, your material wealth. We need to understand our emotional attachment towards money, realize that all money is a tool, right? Just because someone's up and they've got a Rolex doesn't mean they're better than the guy who's at the construction site grafting, right? The guy at the construction site grafting might be a better man than the guy with the Rolex, but society doesn't see that, right?
No, of course not. No,
and it's wrong.
It's a shame.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a false economy, man.
100%. So it's being able to have financial literacy skills and changing your lens towards your finances. Then it's your spiritual wealth. You said something before the podcast where you said the only time is now. That's a spiritual thing to say, because you understand that the present moment is the most important thing. So that's what I mean, your spiritual wealth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then the last one is relationships, right? We call it love, but love gets misconstrued like, oh, I need to get a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever, yeah? But it's just about relationships. So the first principle that I use in business and in life is relationships. What I mean by that, I've broken that down into 3 different stages. My relationship with myself. How do I look at myself, right? Do I hate myself? Do I love myself? Am I narcissistic? Am I real with myself, right? Then my relationship with my inner circle, my peoples, my mother, my girlfriend, my friends, right? What's my relationship with them? Is it a meaningful one? Can I, and this is going to sound mad to some people, can I go to my bro and tell him that, oh, I want to shoot myself, right? Do I have friends to do that? That happened to me 2-3 years ago, and they literally brought me out of that. And then the third layer of relationships is my relationship with the world. How do I perceive the world? When I got diagnosed with arthritis, do I say, oh no, poor me, or do I say, nah, you know what, it is what it is, I've still got good things to be grateful about, just carry on. So those 3 things, the 3 truths: health, wealth, and relationships. That was the whole philosophy of the CIC, that we were going to create programs around that philosophy.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah. And we were helping prison leavers with these sort of things. One of them actually founded a company. I closed down the marketing agency, closed down the CIC, and then we worked in that business. Scaled it from 1 to £1 million, 4 to 34 employees in 4 months. It failed as fast as it grew.
Wow.
Right? I'm not going to go into the details because it is quite technical. It involves a lot of other people who might be watching. And, so yeah,
you got to have the respect for that, yeah.
Exactly. So then after that, I was in a bit of a rut. I was like, okay, shit, I put all my eggs into this.
But it didn't fail because of you, did it? That's the main thing. It wasn't because of you the business failed.
So like, it wasn't solely because of me, but in retrospect, there's probably so many things that I could have done better to maybe challenge leaders in the organization to stop it failing, if that makes sense, right?
What's the learning curve then? So it won't happen again, will it?
Yeah, exactly. It won't happen. Yeah, 100%. I've learned so many things from that in terms of business, people, and just life lessons, right?
Yeah.
So then where are we now? We're in like 2021 now, what I'm talking about.
2020. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I thought you were about now.
No.
Yeah,
so the company's gone. I'm kind of on my arse. I've lost my confidence. I had 2 businesses before that I closed down to focus on this. I don't want to get a job, right? I've always thought I'm going to be a businessman. I'm going to have ownership over the work I do. But I had to get a job. Finances, push comes to shove. I worked as a project manager. I was out of this social impact criminal justice space, right? Okay. I was out of it for a bit. Then I did a post-grad course. It's called Year Here. So they teach people how to start a business or get a job within social impact. I thought, let me do it. It's right up my street. That's where I met the founder of Breakthrough, right? Dina Val. Great woman. I loved the concept straight off the bat. Okay. My idea was that the the organization that was doing this postgraduate course would help me gain funding for the CIC because it was in line with what they want to do, social impact, empowering prison leavers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, so I ended up working as a project manager. Then I went to work at Beam, which is a social enterprise. They help homeless people. And then me working at Beam got me back into the space. What actually got me back into the space was I volunteered with Breakthrough in jail to deliver sessions, and I fell in love with it again. Because the way...
So what was it like going back in?
It was crazy. It was weird.
Yeah. Because David Breakspear's got a good saying. It's going back without going backwards.
Yeah.
I think that's what he says.
Yeah,
I hope I give him respect and justice for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite forgetful.
Yeah.
But so it's going back without going backwards. So at first was it quite daunting? Or...
It was tense. And even before that I had an experience. I trained prison officers with Unlocked Grads, another great company.
Oh wow.
And even the first moment where you're in that campus and there's like 150 prison officers in their uniform all walking around. Bro, the last time I saw that many prison officers, someone died.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Trauma, man.
Like, so I was just like, rah, this is a bit weird. You tense up straight away because you feel like they know that I'm a prisoner, and then straight away you think, they're officers and all of this stuff. After the first,
you start playing that part again, that role again, us and them. But
yeah. And then I realised why I'm actually here. I'm here to help the officers and the staff to communicate better with the prisoners. And someone says this, that it's all about Billy on B-Wing. When you're working in the space, never forget about Billy on B-Wing. What I mean by Billy on B-Wing is just any brother on the wing. Does that make sense? So like, once all those tense feelings were there, I was reminded of the fact that brought me into the prison. Help the staff interact with the prisoners better and empower the prisoners, tell them my story, and hopefully give them some gems that can equip them for when they leave. So I was volunteering with Breakthrough because I loved what they do. They get people into tech jobs. They put lived experience first, and they're just a great organization, right?
Yeah.
So I was volunteering with them, helping them out for a year. And then the prison system's weird, man. They say that they want lived experience people to help. So I was designing a program for Beam. They do work in prisons, and I wasn't able to get my security clearance to go in to deliver sessions in a jail.
It's a bit strange.
Yeah, because the computer says no. Anyone, if you try going to a jail now and you're delivering a 6-month program, on podcasting, let's say in a few years, it's going to be hard for you to get a security clearance unless you're like this with the governor.
Right.
Do you get what I mean? So then that and my health went down, and then I was just like, okay, I'm not able to do the work that I wanted to, along with my health going down. And then I saw Breakthrough come up as an opportunity, and I was like, okay, let me just go there. So now I'm currently there as an operation lead. Titles mean nothing. It just means that I manage all the delivery of the programs and the operations within the business.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, man. Like everything you've said so far, so interesting. Like it's just, I follow you on LinkedIn, like that's why we linked LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But there's something it's unearthed potential, isn't it? You find unearthed potential in these situations, don't you? Because people like you are searching for it, and I think the criminal justice system, from my experience with it, aren't doing that. They're not interested. They want people to stop committing crime, but they're not willing to put the work in to do it. They're not teaching people their life skills. They're not empowering people for their strengths. They're not saying, well, you are quite Jack the lad. That's a power, not a weakness. They usually don't like that. You know what I mean? From my experience, of what I've heard and stuff like that. But yeah, it's amazing what you're doing, man. Like it's amazing. It's really interesting. What you've got something you called your 1 to 5 lessons. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
on the top of your mind? Can you tell me what them? Because they're really, really good.
So like the first one is that money attracts thieves and it doesn't attract money, right? Because of this thing that I said before, that the perception that we have around money is the wrong one. We're often, when I'm delivering stuff in jails, everyone's like, how do I make money? How do I make money? I'm like, oh, you're thinking about it the wrong way. Like money is not about taking money. It's that thing I said before about providing value, figuring out what skills you have to provide value to someone else so they can actually exchange money for that value. Right?
Oh yeah, strong message, man.
Yeah, and people that don't understand that will come in a business context and be very money hungry. And being money hungry is great, but like not in like a catty way, not in like a desperate way, because then that puts the blinders on and
blindsided, isn't it?
Yeah, and it doesn't let you complete the task at hand, right? So that's the first lesson that I learned, because I was living a lavish lifestyle, I blew all my money. Even when I came out of jail, like, I still fell into bad habits and I blew so much money, right? So it's figuring that out first. The next one was that the only certainty in life is uncertainty, right? And this doesn't apply if you're a prisoner. You can have uncertainty in life if you've never been to prison. You've lived a like a typical life. There's always still uncertainty, and there's always a lot of fear that comes with uncertainty. And one thing that I've done to kind of battle uncertainty is to be okay with the fact that I don't know what is actually going to happen. I might have all these big plans and all these things, but really and truly, there's a lot of uncertainty around it, and making peace with that is the best thing that anyone can do, right?
Yeah, good, strong message.
Yeah, and it's difficult. It's difficult to make peace with that, but it's about stoicism. I love stoicism.
One of my best friends is Stoic.
Yeah,
and he really he's give that to me. I'm starting reading, starting to educate myself on Stoicism, and
it's great.
It's great, yeah, it's great, and I get that from you. I was about to mention that. That's very strange. I was going to say you were Stoic.
Yeah. I try to embody it as much as I can.
Wow,
it is difficult.
You took the words out of my mouth, man.
Yeah.
That's mad.
And then that brings me on to the next point, where only focus on the things that you can control. Often we can only control our words. Sometimes we can't even control our subconscious thoughts. We can just control our words and our actions, and just focusing on those can help deal with the anxieties that come. For a businessman, for someone who's working a 9 to 5, for a university student, for someone who's coming out of jail. These things can be applied to everyone, right? How many have I done? I've done the money one. I've done the uncertainty one. I've done the control.
Thoughts.
What you can, what you can control. The fourth lesson. Curiosity. Curiosity is important. I've noticed whenever I'm talking about people, talking to people in prison, and trying to invoke thoughts that cause them to do a career change or whatever, right? They're like, I don't know, I don't have a passion, I just like money. I'm like, all right, cool, that's fine. What makes business people and all these successful people so successful is that they have a childlike curiosity. Before we were socialized, before we realized that the world is this big, bad, ugly place, we were innocent and curious children, right? Harnessing that curiosity as an adult will cause anyone in any sphere of life to be a continuous learner. Continuous learning, lifelong learning, is the best recipe to success. And where that comes from is curiosity. So the fourth lesson that I got is harness that curiosity and welcome it. Being curious about anything, any weird thing. I love weird shit. I love history. I'm a nerd for maps. Do you get what I mean? When I was a kid, I was a nerd for gangs, because I was like, I'm so curious about how small groups of people can take down authority figures like the mafia. They basically ran America for a certain part of time.
Don't they, a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know about that.
Yeah. Like, even where I grew up in India, where my dad grew up, he grew up where all the mobsters were. His brethrens were the sons of big mobsters. When I just went back to India, I was telling him, I was like, where are these? They're all dead. Right? Yeah, and I'm happy that I left and I became an accountant. But the point I'm making is that curiosity within crime caused me to become a criminal. I put it in the wrong energy, right? Yeah. But like, that curiosity can be harnessed, and that causes continuous learning, which is a recipe for success.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I think, like, you know, with prisons, they're not holiday camps. They're there to punish. I do get that, but I think, you know, stoking curiosity for different things is important, you know, and that's another thing you do at Breakthrough, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are trying to enrich people with their own abilities, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. Have a solution, like meeting people where they're at, figuring out what skills are transferable and how they can be put into tech jobs, right? Essentially. So it's like, there's so many transferable skills. That example that I gave before, that if people from low socioeconomic backgrounds were born in a higher socioeconomic background, they'd be business people. Selling drugs is I'd actually argue that running a legitimate business is more difficult than selling drugs, right? But selling drugs is difficult. If someone can do that, they're dealing with police, they're dealing with all these pressures, cash flow, all of these things.
People trying to steal off them.
Yeah, that can be transferred into a business. So that's what we try to do: meet people where they're at. Help them figure out their ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese concept that we've butchered it in the West, as us Western people do with Eastern concepts. They use it to help people find their way of life and purpose. We use it to help people mold their careers. But it's basically finding out what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you can be paid for. In between all of that, there is something that everyone can find and that they can do, and that is a small part of the programs that we run at Breakthrough to find their ikigai, find their purpose, and meld that into their new career.
This stuff should be taught in schools.
100%.
You know, everyone needs to find their meaning, don't they? Like, you know, that's one thing humans lack, isn't it? A lot of people are lost with purpose and meaning, and you know, a lot of people end up in prison because of that. Like you know, and you're trying to change that, aren't you? Like, you know, by giving them that. It's a program, isn't it? You're developing. You know, you're showing people the path, and they got to walk down, aren't they? You know, you're not doing it for them, are you?
No. We're facilitators. All we do is facilitate. Like right now on Tuesday, on the 5th of March, I don't know when this is getting released, we've got our first batch of our 14-week program where we teach people for 8 weeks on different modules, and we give them a high-level overview to equip them for entry-level tech jobs, things like project management, social media marketing, data analysis.
Are these
sales.
all ex-cons?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that, we do a bespoke program for them. So teach them personal branding, CV building, and stuff like that, with the hope to either, if they've got a business, to help get them a client, or to get them into a tech job. And Breakthrough have been doing this long before I joined, but then I've been doing this long before I joined Breakthrough as well. So it's the perfect amalgamation.
Perfect match.
Yeah.
Perfect match. Yeah. Like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
That's
weird.
That's amazing. Yeah. You get them little moments in life where you think this is weird, or is it meant to be? Isn't it? It's fantastic.
I call it synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
It makes me cringe, but I'm like, nah, don't cringe. Listen to it, because this is weird. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Of course, man. I believe in this stuff. Like fully. There's another thing. Did we go to the fifth lesson?
The fifth lesson.
Yeah.
The fifth lesson was I guess it's kind of twofold. The one that no one's coming to save you. This one, it took me a long time to kind of get over. I've always been the little brother in the group, if that makes sense. For years I was under my mum's wing, because my mum sacrificed so much and provided me with everything. And then when I got older, when I was out doing my thing, I had man them that I would consult for issues, whether it's beef, whether it's drug dealing related matters, whether it's life, right?
For criminal pays.
Yeah. And I always felt like I struggled to stand on my own and make my own decisions, because I've always had those big brother figures around me, right?
Yeah.
And then when I came out of prison, it was hard. I was still searching for that. Do you get what I mean? I was searching for someone to latch onto and be like, put me under your wing. And then my friend Sobernan, he actually said, he's known me for 10 years, and he was like, bro, you do this in lots of contexts. You do this in a work context as well. And what you need to do is you need to just find self-confidence within yourself and stand on your own too, because you can do it. Because you're so used to latching onto someone, you do that naturally.
I can relate to that.
And he's like, we're 25 at the time now, bro. We can't, like, you won't be able to live like this. You won't be happy with yourself.
It's like a codependency thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And then that's what allowed me to learn this following lesson, which is that no one is coming to save you. And not in a morbid way. It should be empowering. That only we as like ourselves are going to be the reason for our success and the reason for bringing meaning into our lives. And that can be scary, but it's also empowering, because we know that it's all down to us.
Mate, fantastic, man. So it's just such a strong message. I'm learning Saturday, and this is what this podcast is about. People's going to learn off you, man. And it's brilliant, because there's one more thing which I picked up, was your brutal truths, your 1 to 5. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
It was your needs matter, boundaries are necessary, and everyone will like you, your authenticity, and it's hard to say that as a mank. And the bonus is to be patient with yourself, man. Would you like to go for them, please?
Yeah, of course. So again, this is like, I've been a people pleaser in a lot of my life. Even when I was selling drugs, if my people that I may or may not have been selling drugs with needed something financially, I'm there. Like, I had friends who
back to that ethical drug dealer. You think you're doing everyone a favour, sort of thing. Yeah.
I had friends,
but also for yourself, like, you need that. So you needed that sort of
approval.
Yeah.
So like, I had friends who were studying maths, and they never studied maths in their lives, and their parents are come from poverty, and their parents were counting on them to get a maths degree, become an engineer, and bring money back home. My man was struggling with maths. I paid for tuition 4 times a week, £75 an hour every week.
Because you could afford it from drug money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Little things like
Not
that.
many people to do that with that.
Yeah.
So I get why you had that belief that you wanted to share with the judge. Like, look, I'm not actually a bad guy. You're judging me on laws which, to me, aren't appropriate. You know what I mean? I've done all these good things with this money.
Yeah.
I know, I get that now. I get how you had that. It's not even a delusion where you had that belief because you lived that belief. But the law's still the law, isn't it, to them?
Yeah. No, exactly. Little things like one of my brethren lost his whole suitcase on the bus. He left it there. I bought him new garms. Like, it's whatever. So, like, but then when I came out of jail, I realised that I was people pleasing.
So, you realise it was not so, what's the word I'm looking for? So, you was doing it to get approval.
Yeah.
So it was a bit more selfish.
Yeah. I'm not some saint, Mother Teresa. I was doing it to get approval, right? Even when you're going out, when you're out on sessions, come take my drugs. Yeah, come do this. I'm the guy with the table with everything out, everything. Yeah, everyone come. Everyone's my brethren. All of this stuff. So I realized that people pleasing is an issue for me, and I actually realized it in a work context, right?
Yeah.
Because I was in a leadership position in organizations, and rather than trying to think about the task at hand and get the work done to the best of my ability, I'm trying to pander to my manager, right? I'm like, oh, how are you? I'm trying to use my gift to the gab. My manager's sitting there like, have you done the work though?
Right, yeah.
And then that caused me, I would even understand. I'd be like, I'm a nice guy.
Why is she rejecting me? Yeah.
And then I realized I was like, I'm a people pleaser, and I was ashamed of it because I was like, oh, I'm a coward. What type of man goes out and seeks approval from other people? I'm not a man. So I cowered away from it, right?
Right, okay, yeah.
And then Caden Adams on LinkedIn, he taught me something. And
advertisement.
Yeah. And he's like, be vulnerable on LinkedIn. He's like, be vulnerable. That's the best way you can tell your story. People relate to it. So then I made that post on LinkedIn saying that I'm 27 and I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
There are 5 brutal truths.
Powerful, man.
Yeah. To
I love all
not
that.
be a people pleaser.
And this is, it's your LinkedIn which made me think let's have a podcast because there's so many people which are probably still caught in this bubble of not accepting who they are or even trying to figure out who they are. And everything you're saying today is so powerful, man. Like, you're helping me. You're making me. You're actually like a therapist there. You start making me think. Actually, these 5 lessons they make sense. And then I could go back now and draw. Get the pen and paper out and start doing my 5 truths. Brutal ones. Yeah. But I don't think many people want to hear that. They want to do that. They want to hear it, but they don't want to do it. Man,
it's like
motivational, man.
It's like people can only get to that stage when life has put them in a place where they have to look at themselves. You have to step out and look in. You have to do that. Yeah, and this is one thing, when they say prison doesn't work, I think it does work in some respects, but I think how it's used is wrong. I think it is how it's used is wrong. There is alternatives that should be used. I don't want to go too far off that because I'm conscious of time, man. Boundaries are necessary. Yeah. Why did you come up with that truth? So, like, as being like a people pleaser, you want to please people, you want to get people's approval, and often what that causes is that I won't have boundaries with people. Let's think about it in a work context, right? And we'll talk about it in a drug dealing context as well. In a work context, oh, Pratik, who can do this? Oh yeah, I can do this task because I want to show everyone that I'm the guy. I might have gone to prison, but I'm intelligent. I'm not laughing at your expression. But like that's my inner voice, right? And then I'm just like, I don't actually have time to do that. And now this other person is relying on me to do something for the business that we work in, and it's not getting done, right? So I need to set myself boundaries. In a drug dealing perspective, like, I need to have boundaries because everyone's like, oh yeah, Pratik's the guy, I can go off him, get a spliff, like, oh, I need some money, like if I'm around him, he'll pay for my food, but I don't want to be around people all the time. Do you get what I mean? Like, boundaries are very important, especially for people who might be people pleasers, right? Because we have the people pleaser lens on, we're like, oh, I need approval, we don't know when to step back and be like, okay, this is my time now, if that makes sense. It makes sense, man.
Moving on, not everyone will like you. That's a powerful one.
Yeah, and that's difficult for people that seek approval. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm always running around making sure that every person I'm selling a drug to, or every drug dealer that I'm selling drugs to, likes me, I'll be breakfast in the drug dealing
eventually,
world, right? In a work context, no one cares. They're all there to work. People are friendly. People want to cultivate a good culture where you feel psychologically safe and your well-being is looked after. But at the end of the day, everyone's there to work. Like, they're not there for friends. Yes, you make friends in a work context, but
still
not
colleagues.
Yeah, and not everyone will like you, right? When I worked as a training prison officers, I was around other prison officers. I could tell some of them really hated me.
Yeah.
I would do little things like I would find my own innovative ways to teach a session to prison officers. They didn't like that because they're by the book individuals, right?
Yeah.
They're like, who does this
And
guy
they're
think
the us
he
and
is?
them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the type of character.
Yeah. So it's like just realizing that not everyone will like you, and it's not that deep. As long as you love yourself and you like appreciate the value that you have and you forgive yourself when you fuck up, like that's all you need.
Do you know what's powerful about the things you're saying? And it's starting to resonate with the program you do, because there's a lot of damaged people coming out of prison. A lot of people will suffer from these problems of character defects, and to make it in the real world, these have to be addressed.
100%.
Powerful. Listen, like I'm so impressed by your philosophy, man. Like it's and the job you're doing. It's definitely going to improve lives, man. It has to. It has to, man. It has to.
And like, sorry to cut you, but like, that's why part of the program we split it into 3 core components. There's technical sessions where people from big organizations come in and teach project management because they know what you need. But then we also have mindset sessions, right? Emotional intelligence, all of these things that we're talking about, because normally employability programs, they just I'll write your CV, here you go, off you go, mate. But they don't think, you've been coming late to all of my sessions. Why'd you come late? Do you get what I mean? And it's not because he's an ex-prisoner, he's never had a job in his life. It's because maybe they're pissed off about something. Maybe they have insomnia. Maybe they've just got a poor mindset towards themselves and they don't care about themselves and they self-sabotage. Like, sorting out all of these mindset things along with teaching people technical skills needs to go hand in hand. So you're 100% right.
Oh, it's deep. It's deep stuff. Like, I'm so glad I got you on today, because I'm going to rewatch this a few times because I'm getting a lot from it. Authenticity.
Okay, so just generally, not just for people pleasers, being your authentic self, being unapologetic about it is the most empowering way for you to live, if that makes sense. I've gone into many work contexts where everyone's middle class and they're talking about things that I don't understand. Even the way they talk, like
they feel a bit isolated from
like they pronounce their T's more than I do. Little things, and I'm just like, rah, do they think I'm working class? Like do they think I'm beneath them because of that? Just be yourself, right?
Yeah.
In a prison context, I got so much grief for being a university student going into prison. People come up to me like, you're not a criminal. Like, what are you doing, bro? And all of this stuff. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to rise up to it. I'm not going to try to think, I'm a bad man, I'm a criminal. I'm just going to be myself. And that made my time in prison so calm. No issues. If anything, people saw that, respected that. And if anyone messed, like, I'd have friends who looked out for me. Do you get what I mean? Because I was authentic. I've seen other people...
Real likes real.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fake like the fake.
Yeah,
I mean? And also the fake get manipulated.
Yeah.
The real will manipulate the fake to do the dirty work, you know?
Yeah. Like, I've had so many instances in jail where I probably should have got battered, right? But I didn't.
You didn't, yeah.
Because people around me, they're like, nah, he's real, and he's gonna go out and he's not gonna commit crime because I've tried to give him a kilo.
So allow him, like.
Yeah. But if someone's messing with him, I'm not gonna let that happen. Because he's helping all the man then teach.
Because you're not pretending. Like, if you're in there thinking you're bad, you get found out when you're.
Yeah.
And if you're not authentic and real with who you are, there's consequences, isn't there? It's like, but it's not just in that respect. It's like in any respect of life. If you're pretending, you will get found out eventually. So that's really important. That authenticity, man. A lot of people in life are faking it.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. As humans, we all fake it till we make it. But. And that's okay, as long as you have integrity with yourself. I've had low confidence for so many years, and
You wouldn't see that coming across like.
yeah, I've had to build it up, right?
Yeah.
And it's because self-esteem is the word. So the esteem with yourself, where does that come from? If I'm telling myself that I'm gonna do something and I don't do it, my esteem with myself will go down, my confidence will go down. So faking it till you make it is okay, as long as you have integrity with yourself. There's a boxer that on another podcast that said, when I'm running on the treadmill, even if I'm dying, I have to, not physically dying, yeah, but like I have to keep going, because when I'm at that 10th round and I'm fighting, I know that I'm the type of guy who gets off the treadmill when no one's watching.
Yeah.
So I won't have that confidence, and it's the same thing in life. Keep that integrity with yourself, and then it's
Push yourself. Yeah, it's great, man. Great stuff. I keep saying it, repeated there. Be patient with yourself.
Life is long term. They don't teach delayed gratification in school. TikTok, social media, all of these things are making the young generation have shorter attention spans. Even when I speak to prisoners and be like, what's your 5-year plan? Let's make a 5-year plan. They're looking at me like, what are 5 years? I'm thinking about how I'm going to get out and do this, that, and the other. So we don't learn about having a long-term mindset to life. Thinking long-term is a good way to breed success and content in life. And the first step for that is being patient with yourself. I've got so many issues in my life, right? I'm trying to get off smoking cigarettes. I need to become healthier. I need to sort my health out. There's things that I struggle with at work, attention to detail, being responsive, little things, right? And I'm great compared to I was before, but because I was patient with myself.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it goes like, I feel like it's self-explanatory, but yeah, being patient with yourself is key, because no one's going to change overnight. And if you expect yourself to change overnight, and all this self-development stuff is great, but self-acceptance is needed, and that allows you to be patient with yourself, because we all want to change, we all want to get better, but we got to meet ourselves where we're at, be patient, and then take it day by day.
Strong message, man. So what's the plans for the future then for Pratik, man? What's the plans for, obviously with Breakthrough?
Yeah.
You're starting this program, is it the 5th of March?
Yeah.
You're starting this program.
running...
Did you wrote this program, yeah?
No. So yeah, it was the program was already there before. It's Breakthrough program. Yeah. I'm not even delivering it. I'm project managing it.
So my bad.
Yeah. So I'm project managing it and helping design bits of it to add more lived experience, more of a lived experience lens. We're doing 5 over the next 18 months. We're aiming to help over 100 people and hopefully get them into tech employment. With Breakthrough, there's so many other avenues that I'd love to start doing, using our lived experience to train staff members, train other charities in the space.
Yeah.
There's so many things on the horizon, but like to cut a long story short, Breakthrough is, from a career perspective, is where I'm going to be at. I want to finish what I started. I want to close the loop and actually use my lived experience, my professional experience, my entrepreneurial experience of the criminal justice system to make it a fairer and better criminal justice system, essentially. And that's from my career perspective. With my life, I've got loads of things to do. You know, I need to get a house. I want to start a family in a few years. I want to make sure that my parents, who have sacrificed everything for me, have, and this sounds crude, but they probably got like 20 years left on this earth. Yeah. I want to make sure that I'm doing right by them, and I'm not the little cunt that I've always been, and actually be a good son for once. And yeah, just and my health as well. Like the doctor today said, you got the knees of a 51-year-old. So God willing, yeah, I'm 40 and not hobbling. So like, there's a lot of things for the next 5 years. But from a career perspective, it's Breakthrough, and just innovating the criminal justice system.
Yeah, man, it's been great having you here today. Yeah, I'm just conscious of time because we can just talk forever. You're so interested and you got such a strong message. But listeners, please add Pratik. Can you pronounce your name proper?
Pratik.
Yeah. Pratik Doshi.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn. I'm going to link up with you again because
let's do it.
I think I want to set up some stuff with you because I believe in this stuff like you do.
Yeah. So much synergy.
So you could have got out and gone into budget management in anything. You want to give back. You see what needs to be changed, and you see the potential in others, which is a strong character. You know what I mean? Like it's a strong. Can't articulate a word there. you've got faith in tomorrow and faith in other people, you know, and that's a powerful thing to have. And not many people, a lot of people are selfish. You know, obviously you're very unselfish. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that
I get what you're saying.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're very unselfish, and it's a beautiful thing to have, man.
It's because people had faith in me, man.
Yeah,
honestly, like when I came out of jail, I was still on what I was on before.
Yeah.
But I had to.
It's hard to change, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to change.
And things had to happen for me to actually properly transition out of crime, right?
Yeah, of course.
And a big part of that was people believing in me and like.
There's only so much you can do yourself. Then if you just need people to see that how far you've come and go. Actually, let's take a chance in this person. And let's give them, you know, our attention and our belief.
Even if it's just attention and belief, that's enough.
That's it, man. And that's all people need to do, rather than just close the door and reject these people, because it's just going to be the revolving door of crime, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pratik, man, thank you very much, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Listen, we'll definitely meet up again. I want to try and set up a weekly live thing, where
I'll be on that.
meet up. We're going to get people, have a bit of a laugh about, you know,
and just chat about the culture, everything.
So I want to do the documentary versions like with what we've done here, people's life, and, you know, documented, and then after that start like a, you know, more casual live thing. So thank you very much, mate. Take care, bro.
It was good.